We are smack bang in the middle of a housing crisis, but no one's complaining about a lack of supermarkets. So why are vulnerable people being evicted to make way for a new place to do the groceries, especially when the tenants claim the rules aren't being followed?
I feel cheated and lied to.
You're not supposed to be here, private property.
Okay, is it possible to speak to the owner?
To simply uproot these people from their homes is shocking.
Leanne recently opened up a new life, making a fresh start after a relationship breakdown and tucking into what little money she had left to buy a caravan. Settling on a new home at this park near Bendigo in regional Victoria, which is now empty after a sudden eviction of all residents.
It was very disgusting, to tell you the honest truth. It was no notice, it was no compassion, and that was it. And it was heartless. That's really it.
This letter was sent to residents of Avondale Caravan Park on June 16. Leanne and her fellow permanent tenants told to get out in 10 working days.
It was upsetting, I was angry. A lot of other people were no one knows where to turn.
Leanne left with few options.
I'll be going to the bush for a couple of days and got no electricity or water, so, you know, you just got to, well, that's the only alternative.
Leanne found her dreams washed up again, packing up her life as things got wild at Avondale over the final fortnight.
During the 2 weeks there was people from 12 midnight to 5 in the morning coming through that park. It didn't feel safe. A lot of utes.
When we visited the caravan park hoping to speak to the owners, it was in a clear state of disrepair, but there was someone around.
Is it possible to speak to the owner?
Ray was the groundskeeper, and while we left our details, we didn't get a call back from the owners. Upon further investigation, we learned the caravan park had changed hands last year and an application had been lodged in May 2022 to build a Coles supermarket on the site, which council voted down last April. But there's more to this story when it comes to the notice residents were given to vacate.
The letter I saw gave 10 business days. Now that 10 business days ahead of winter is abhorrent. Should never ever occur. And I do hope that the government makes sure that there is an adequate process to follow this up to make sure it never happens again.
Caravan owner David Pratt is the president of the Victorian Caravan Parks Association. He's an expert in permanent park dwellings and is across the rules of eviction where the Residential Tenancies Act applies. Has the eviction here been done the right way?
I certainly believe the wrong thing has been done. There is an absolute set of laws that requires 6 months' notice, and the law's very clear on that.
According to David, authorities can take it further.
The Act's very clear that there are penalties that are applicable, and I suppose time will tell what the government intends to do in relation to pursuing that.
The developer behind the Coles proposal wrote the eviction letter we've been provided. A director for the company said, "We understand the recent events at Avondale Caravan Park have caused uncertainty and anxiety for some occupants. We sincerely apologise. We were advised that there were no residents, as defined in the Residential Tenancies Act, residing in the park. We do not believe this is in contravention of the Residential Tenancies Act, nor illegal." Makes you wonder, if they weren't residents, who were the developers writing to?
They didn't give us 6 months' notice at all. There was no advice and no information given whatsoever, ever.
Doesn't sound like they cared too much about you, Leanne.
No one did, no one.
We're told the caravan park owners contacted some residents to offer them a payment, somewhere in the region of the equivalent of 6 months of their rent, or just over $6,000.
Residents who have been offered money are laying low, told if they spoke out about the situation, the payment would be cancelled. For Leanne, it's a matter of principle, and she's wary of any offer.
That was just that to me is just a cheap move, really. And you know, because people haven't got money, so that's just a payoff, a cheap chump change payoff to me.
Leanne has marched on to a new caravan park, but she's struggling to find one that will let her stay long term. This aged carer hoping for a patch of earth she can call hers.
I need a home. Of course I do. I need a home, that's for sure. I want my own land. No one can kick me off then.